Hi, welcome back to another tutorial on how to play Toontown. Alright, today I'm going to be going over task again. I know I've discussed it a little bit briefly in another video or so, but I want to kind of talk to you about some different tasks that different toons may have. So that way if you progress along the game, then you kind of know what to expect. So as you can see here on my screen, I have my account signed in, and I'm going to use, for example, I'm going to start with Crazy Blubber Speed. This is one of my toons that I don't really play these toons all that often. The main account, or the main toon that I play, is my Patty Cuddlebee. This is my experienced toon. The rest of them are just, very beginners. They're not really progressed in the game. I created them just to have them. So we're going to start with this Crazy Blubber Speed, and then we're going to talk about the differences between the tasks. So as I get each of them signed in, I'll kind of pause the video and let it load, and then I'll unpause it to finish recording. Alright, I have signed in Crazy Blubber Speed, and I'm going to open up my book, and I'm going to click on the Toon Task option. And currently, as you can see here, for this particular toon, I have to get 6 level 3 cogs in Toontown Central to get a medium pouch, and I've already defended 2. So that means I have to get a total of 6 cogs that are level 3 or higher. So once I complete this task, I will be rewarded the gag pouch. And the gag pouch is what goes here, and it's what you're able to hold gags with. So once you move up from a 20 pouch, you go to the medium, and then you move up from there, you get another size, and then eventually you get like an 80 gag pouch. And you'll eventually want to get that task, that way you can hold more gags, that way it's less often that you have to fill these. So I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to sign into one of my other accounts, and then I'll come back and show you the next toon. Alright, I've signed into Squeaky Funny Toon, and Squeaky needs to get some oil from some sellbots anywhere. For right now, we've got 19 laugh points. So once Squeaky finishes this task, she will get a total of 3 extra laugh point boost. That means that instead of having 19, it'll increase it by 3 laugh points, so that'll be a total of 22 laugh points. So I know I've said in a video before on other tasks that you may be required to do certain tasks that require you to get certain cogs. So for example, this one specifically says I have to get some oil anywhere from some sellbots. So currently I am signed in Donald's Dreamland, and that means I'm over here. So that means that if I was to get any kind of sellbot from any location that has sellbots, I would get credit. It doesn't specifically say that I have to get it from Toontown Central, was where you start off mostly to do all your tasks when you're first starting off, but this one says anywhere, so I can get that particular task from any location that I have access to. If I can get there, I can do it. Only thing is, if it says something specifically, like I had to get it in Toontown, that means I have to go from Donald's Dreamland all the way back to Toontown Central. And as I've explained in other videos, that in order for you to be from here to get back to somewhere else, you have to walk unless you have access to get there. It means like you have teleport access, or unless you want to hitch a ride from a friend that you might possibly have online, and maybe you can teleport to them. Or if you have another account that you can sign in and do it that way that has teleport access. So whichever method you decide to use, either walking back all the way to another location or hijacking a ride through the teleport option is the only other option that you have. Unless you have teleport access yourself, you will not be able to make it from, say, Donald's Dreamland back to Toontown Central or to Daisy's Garden or wherever it is, unless you have teleport access, unless you walk all the way through the streets yourself to get there, or unless you hitch a ride with somebody else that has access by teleporting to them if they are already at that location. And one way you can find out if your friend is in a certain location, you would just, for example, click on that person's name. You would click on them, and then you would click, for example, you click on their name, and then you click this little option here, and it's going to show you exactly where they're at, if they're online, and where they're at. All right, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to sign into another account and show you the next two. All right, we're under Pinky Giggle Snouts, and we are going to look at our task. We've just got to get 3 cogs from Toontown Central for the soundtrack animation frame number 2. And if you want to know what that specific task is, I know I haven't talked about it before necessarily. When you are given the task for this option, or you choose this option, this is where this little gag training is going to go. So currently I'm on soundtrack frame 2, but if you noticed, I don't even have the track 1. So sometimes it will give you an option to pick between, you know, this track or this task, or it may kind of put them out of order. It's not going to always throw number 1 up. So I have frame number 2, which will be this option here. I don't remember what my other options were at the time, if they did give me option 1 or option 2. I guess it depends on what the task was at hand. So maybe I felt frame number 2 was easier or better or something like that to defeat 3 cogs in Toontown Central for frame 2, and maybe frame 1 was I had to get more. I don't remember exactly what the options was, but sometimes you'll have the same task, but they'll give you a different reward, or sometimes it'll be a different reward with a different task. So if my task was to do soundtrack 1, but it was a different task, maybe I chose this one because I thought maybe it was easier, or maybe I thought it was quicker to get it. So maybe that's why I chose frame 2. Regardless, eventually I am going to have to get all the frames in the track. So for example, there are 16 tracks that you have to get. So right now I'm working on sound track 2, but eventually track 1's going to come back around, and I'll have to pick that because I won't be able to finish this track, this entire track. So that means there's 16 tasks that I have to do in order to be able to finalize this particular gag training. Now, mind you, as I have probably stated in other videos, just because it says you have to complete 16 tasks for this does not mean you complete only 16. That means that's probably the lower end of completing this task. That means at least I have 16 to complete. I may have other tasks to complete to finish this task. So that means that in certain tasks, this one's pretty straightforward, but there are some tasks that it may say, hey, you need to go get something specific from a toon, from a cog, and you have to go turn that in. And then if the person that you're turning it into does not accept it, you may have to go defeat something else, go get something else, take something back to something else or somewhere else, and then eventually after 2 or 3 tasks, then you might complete one little track. So even though this says 16 specifically, this may require you to do other tasks to even get one little track complete. So if I'm doing 16 here, I may end up doing 30 or something like that. I haven't really kept up with it. I do know that these games are very tedious. They're very time consuming when it comes to certain tasks. Some of them, you're spending, if you start with one particular task or one option or one particular deal, you may be working on it for a while to complete it. All right. So that is this particular toon's task, is to do the soundtrack animation frame number 2, and it has to complete 3 cogs in Toontown Central. All right, I've just signed into Mouser's account, or Mouser's, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to show you that Mouser has to visit Sticky Lou at Blue Glue, Loopy Lane in Toontown Central for 3 laugh points. So right now, Mouser's got 20 laugh points, and we'll have to visit Sticky Lou in Toontown Central. Well, if you notice that I'm in Donald's Dreamland, so how am I going to get all the way from Donald's Dreamland all the way to Toontown Central? I have no friends online. Oh, look, I have signed in another account that I'm going to sign in, and I'm going to use this particular toon, for example. So what I have to do is, I'm over here in Toontown Central. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Biscuit, go to, and that's going to get Mouser over to Toontown Central. So that may be good for you to have a toon on your account that actually can have the availability to be able to get to a certain playground quick, like I did on signing in on this other account, and then just hijack a ride. Alright, so we got to go to Sticky Lou in Loopy Lane, so that means that we are going to go here to Loopy Lane and find something for Mouser, but we can come back to it later. So at least I've got Mouser over here in Toontown Central, so I'm going to just stand, well, I won't be able to come back to the specific location, but this is where I'm going to go for my task in Loopy Lane, and I'm going to sign into another account just to show you the next task. Alright, Skippy Whisker Paws is the other toon that I just signed in on my account, and that task is going to be defeat 6 level 3 plus cogs in Toontown Central for 4. I've already got 4 out of 6 cogs. So that's the same as one of the other toons that I have. They're working on this task as well. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was, I can't really remember now. But one of my other toons I just showed you was working on this same task. So you can kind of see that most of these tasks are going to be repeated. So that means when you take and sign into any one of your, well, if you sign into your account and you have multiple toons, eventually all of them are going to defeat the same or play around the same task. So this particular task is the same as one of my other toons I just showed you. Alright, so I have already talked about my main account or my main toon. I'm going to, in this video, and I'm going to show you another toon. And just work on showing you the difference between, you know, my account and another toon's account on maybe what options they have for their toons.